attention to commute times.
With plans, with games, with snacks, chairs and tables, a place to, kick back and relax while the train takes a lot longer to come than it should.
Danny Pearlstein with the Writers Alliance calling on Governor Hochul to put more money in the state budget so weekend workers only have a 6-minute wait.
We think it would be a huge advance. It would transform people's lives.
Eileen LaPalmer, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM at Delancey Street.
Another inmate has died on Rikers Island, the 17th this year. No word yet on what caused the death of 39-year-old Edgardo Mejias, who'd been held for more than 2 months on a robbery charge. Like all deaths on Rikers, his death will be investigated by both the State Attorney General's office and the City Department of Investigation, as well as by the Medical Examiner's office. Governor Hochul and Mayor Adams will be at a synagogue on the Upper West Side next hour, talking about the rise in anti-Semitic attacks in the city.
The meeting at the Lincoln Square Synagogue comes on the heels of the November arrests of 2 men at Penn Station who had weapons and plans to attack a Jewish house of worship during Friday night services. Following that incident, Mayor Adams said keeping Jewish communities safe is one of the highest priorities of his administration.
Because hatred and anti-Semitism will not take foothold in our city. No one should feel threatened walking down the street or traveling on the subway. No one should ever feel threatened walking into their synagogue or place of worship.
It's hate that the Anti-Defamation League says is being fueled on social media. The NYPD reported a 125% increase in hate crimes against Jews in November over the same month a year prior. Marla Diamond, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM on the Upper West Side.
A 16-year-old girl was stabbed to death in Harlem yesterday, allegedly by her 18-year-old boyfriend. Police are calling it a domestic incident. Sania Lawrence was stabbed in the neck in an apartment on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. She was pronounced dead at Harlem Hospital. Aisha Sekou is with the anti-violence group Street Corner Resources.
That broke my heart. I'm a mother and a grandmother. A lot of my team members are parents, and even if they're not, they parent the kids that come to us.
She talked to ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Police have released photos of the boyfriend, Zaire Crumbly, and they're anxious to hear from anybody who might know where he is. A doctor from Westchester went to Ukraine to treat the wounded, and now that he's back, he's asking Americans not to forget about the suffering that continues in Ukraine.
For Westchester Medical Center head and neck surgeon Dr. Augustine Moscatello, it was a mission of mercy going to Western Ukraine.
First place they took us was the basement of the hospital where the bomb shelter was.
He says during breaks, hospital staff wove camouflage blankets for the front. The first patient he saw?
The man was probably in his early 20s, and he had a black patch over his right eye, indicating an injury to his right eye, and he had his left leg sticking out from under the blanket, and his left foot was missing.
Over 9 days in September, volunteers performed 31 reconstructive surgeries on soldiers and civilians alike. One young woman, a medic, lost an eye.
Tuesday morning after the surgery, we were making rounds on this woman, and the first question she asked us was, when can I go back to my unit?
Dr. Moscatello says he is in awe of the indomitable Ukrainian spirit.
They're not giving up, and they're going to go right to the end to resist having their country taken over by the Russians.
Sean Adams, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in Westchester.
President Biden and President Zelensky talked by phone yesterday, with Zelensky thanking the president for another $275 million in military aid. Zelensky said Russian drone attacks have knocked out about 50% of Ukraine's energy infrastructure. A friend of Italy's new prime minister, Giorgia Meloni, and 2 other women were shot to death in a coffee shop in Rome yesterday. Police say the women were holding a condo board meeting when the man stormed into the shop and opened fire, shouting, "I'll kill you all." Investigators say the 57-year-old killer had been in a series of disputes with the condo's residents association. He was overpowered and held for police by other board members attending the meeting. NASA has completed its first mission to the moon in 50 years, this one without astronauts, but it's a lead-up to a crewed mission in 2025.
After a record-breaking month-long trip around the moon, 270,000 miles from Earth,
the Orion spacecraft is barreling its way back home.
Orion re-entered the atmosphere like a rock skipping on water at 25,000 miles per hour, pushing through 5,000 degrees of heat, and the critical moment, successfully deploying those parachutes. It was 50 years ago when American astronauts last stepped foot on the moon. Now America hopes to do it again to establish a base on the moon and around it for deep space exploration.
Correspondent Gio Benitez. Splashdown was supposed to be off San Diego, but bad weather forced NASA to move it 350 miles south off the coast of Mexico. It's news time, 8:11. Here's traffic and transit on the ones from Karen Stewart.
All right, we've got a lot going on. The first thing is eastbound Route 3, which is closed and has been since 5:19 this morning over at Main Avenue in Clifton. We have an overturned truck and a fuel spill. Jumping off and trying to get locally over to Route 21 will pop you back onto Route 3 and avoid this closure that we've got going on. Springbrook Parkway in the northern suburbs, south of Dobbs Ferry Road in Greenbrook. Accident in the right. We keep getting callers into the 1010 Winds traffic tip line about the snow coming off people's cars and hitting them right in the windshield there. So please be careful. Clean off your car properly. Keep distance between you and the person in front of you. And leave yourself as much extra travel time as you can. Now, over at the Hudson River, it's ugly. It's about 50 minutes inbound to the Holland Lincoln and the GW Bridge. Here in the city, northbound on the West Side Highway at 72nd, we have an accident blocking one lane. And northbound 6th Avenue is very heavy at 50th Street because there's FDNY in the right and center lanes. So you've got volume and you've got rubbernecking all along 6th Avenue at the 50s. Eastbound Cross Bronx, east of the Major Deegan, there's still a disabled vehicle in the center lane. And Long Island, the eastbound LIE at exit 34, New Hyde Park Road, has an accident in the left-hand lane. A little bit of a new one there. Alternate side parking rules and regulations are in effect. We're sponsored by Cars for Kids. I'm Karen Stewart, and our next report is 821, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
With car prices at an all-time high, Cars for Kids donors are now getting the highest receipts ever. Don't miss out for 2022. Donate your car today at carsforkids.org, and your car can be picked up tomorrow.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now the 1010 Winds AccuWeather 4-day forecast sponsored by Petro Home Services. Seems like we might want to tack on a couple of extra days this morning, Dean.
Yeah, and especially we're going to extend, we'd go normally through Thursday, but we're going to tack on Friday because that's the center of this late week storm. That is something we got to keep an eye on. It looks like a potent wind, rain maker for the city and near coastal suburbs and some icy, snowy potential for the inland suburbs, something we got to work out. One thing I'm liking now is that the skies are starting to clear out and dry out a little bit. We're starting to see some breaks of sun near the city. Other areas are still pretty cloudy and temperatures are starting to move up. We're at 33 in the city. We'll get up to near 40 today with some sunny breaks. And then temperatures will really, as we dry out, or, we're going to dry out and clear out tonight, it's going to be really cold. Teens near 20 in some of the outlying suburbs, upper 20s in the city. A chilly couple of dry days with some sunshine tomorrow and Wednesday. Highs both days 41. And then that storm Thursday into Friday. Again, rain, coastal flooding, wind issues. Could be gale force winds for a few hours, 30, 40 mile per hour gusts near the city, and then the snow and ice conditions that we are looking at the potential for near and beyond the 287 corridor. Make sure you're allowing extra travel time Thursday and Friday at this point. 33 on our way up to near 40 today. I'm Mackie with the meteorologist Dean DeVore, New York's weather station, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
If you're looking for the best way to save on home heating costs, it's time to call Petro Home Services. Switch now and get $125 free heating oil or propane. Petro also has the deal you need to save even more on energy costs. Get a new heating system with $0 down and as low as $99 a month for qualified customers. Switch to Petro now to save more on heating costs and stay for the best-in-class service you'll enjoy all winter. Visit petro.com or call 1-888-PETRO02 today. Propane not available in all areas.
All right, YouTube, thank you so much for joining me on the very first snowy day of the year. I should say the very first snowy work day because there was snow yesterday, but we weren't out here recording for Driving in the News. So if you notice, sometimes I give you a little bit of a different perspective here, pointing, it's not a flashlight, pointing the camera to the left just to show you a different perspective on the drive here for the news. And guys, again, I want to thank you for joining me. Thank you for those that have seen our videos, or this past weekend, the Pride in Patterson video on Saturday featuring the Passaic County Jail with its surrounding areas, and yesterday with the the Fred Drives video in Wallington, New Jersey at night, and a special video that I put out yesterday afternoon after I saw a video of someone on YouTube who wanted to show the world how Patterson was in the 50s and how it is now. He showed the Passaic County Falls back in the 50s, And if he would have been fair, he would have shown the same falls now. But he didn't do that. What did he do? He went right to one of the very worst neighborhoods and the very worst streets in Patterson. He ignored everything else that's in Patterson and just showed you that Patterson, showed you that neighborhood, and told you that that's how Patterson looks today. And that irked me a little bit, gotta admit. If someone lived in Patterson in the 50s and 60s and they moved away and haven't been back since and see that video, they're gonna think that, oh wow, look how bad Patterson is now, because that person is only showing you that one bad street. While Patterson has hundreds of other streets that are beautiful. Lakeview Avenue, Union Avenue, Total Avenue, even some of your more working class neighborhoods in the east side, like East 34th, East 33rd, those streets, they won't show you those. All right, guys, thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next Driving and the News.